Hi guys, it's me and John, and I am here today to do the mommy scenario tag. And I've actually been tagged by quite a few people to do this, and I know this tag's been going around for a while now. I just hadn't have gotten a chance to do it, A, and B, I don't know, I always forget. Like, I'm in front of the camera, I'm like, what should I film about today? And I totally forget. So I have a few tag videos coming up that I've been tagged over the last few months over, so yeah, so look out for those. But I thought it'd be fun to have John in this tag because I haven't watched anybody else's tag videos just because I didn't want to be biased or like swayed in my answers. So I just read through the questions and I thought, oh, this would be a fun one for John to answer too. So he's never really heard, he doesn't really know what this is, so bear with him and be patient.
I'm being ambushed.
I'm ambushing him.
Being boozled.
But basically, this is called the Mommy Scenario Tag. I believe Mommy Archives and Jalen Mama made this tag. So yeah, well, let's get started. So basically, I'm just going to read off these situations, and they're basically a bunch of hypotheticals, which John hates hypotheticals, but you're supposed to answer how you would deal with situations. So the first situation is your kid is refusing to eat dinner. Do you stand your ground and demand they eat what you made or make something else? I will answer that first because we have had this issue with Wyatt continuously.
Well, not so much anymore.
And also with Ava sometimes too.
He doesn't refuse to eat, he just doesn't eat very much.
Yeah, he will just eat little bites. So, I will never, ever in the 10 years that I've been a mother, I have never broken down and said, okay, I'll make you this instead. I refuse to do that. I'm not a short order cook. I will not do that. John doesn't do that either. It's either you eat what you have in front of you or you don't eat at all. If we know that the child's not capable of eating a certain amount, we'll say, okay, you need to eat, at least this many more bites.
We also don't make things that we don't think they would want to eat.
Yeah, like we don't make...
And then usually we have to stand our ground on vegetable style, like items.
Vegetables, you have to eat part of your vegetables. Like, I know, like, my mom used to let us pick stuff out. I'm not that way. I'm just, you need to at least try it. That's my main thing, is try it. And if you don't like it, then I'll understand, but you need to at least try it once. But we don't bend and make other types of food.
I think if you start bending on some of that stuff, you end up bending on it the rest of your life.
Yeah, and like like, I won't talk about personal
growth, but I know.
My mom
used to make 2 or 3 different kinds of spaghetti sauce when we had spaghetti because my brother didn't like meat in his spaghetti sauce. But he likes meat, he just didn't like it in the spaghetti sauce, or he wouldn't like mushrooms in it, or... So we'd have to have like multiple sauces on the stove to pick from. Yeah,
I'm not about to be that way. So basically, I just want my kids to learn that like it's disrespectful to not appreciate what's in front of you, so that when they're at somebody else's house, they're not like, ew, I don't want to try this. And I want them to be open-minded to try something. And I think if you keep bending and you don't allow them to or make them try things, then they lose out. I don't think that's just my opinion. But again, we don't force them to eat huge portions. If they're full, we let them be. Our pediatrician basically said with Wyatt when he was refusing to eat, just don't force him because the fight makes it worse. So we'll just say, have this many bites. After you eat that, you can be done, but you don't get a snack afterwards. So.
But this is just like our opinion, man.
Yeah, this is just our opinion.
As the dude would say.
As the dude. Number 2, your kid has a meltdown at the store. Nothing is working to calm them. Do you leave and come back another time or grit your teeth and finish shopping?
Combination of both.
Combination. John and I usually shop together when it comes with kids. I will honestly say, and I'm not saying this bad against you, babe, but when I go shopping with the kids by myself, I have never had a blow up. They're usually perfectly fine. The one time I had a blow up with Wyatt, I dragged him to the car and put him in his car seat, buckled him up, made sure he was safe, and I stood outside of the car while he screamed, and that was when I was pregnant with Kaya. And I just let him scream. People looked at me like I was crazy, but I wasn't about to let him scream in the grocery store, and I wasn't going to go home either because I needed my groceries. So I put him in his car seat, let him scream for about 15-20 minutes, and he finally was done. He calmed down, said he was sorry. We went in, finished our grocery shopping, came back. For some reason, when we shop with our whole family, I think it's just the kids just know. They know. So
they know we want to get done and get out of there.
Yeah.
So they push us.
So when that happens, when John and I are together, John usually takes Wyatt or whatever child is tantruming outside of the store. I've even went as far as letting Kaya tantrum in a corner at Target, buckled into the grocery cart, because it's too far of a drive for me to come back, and I was on a schedule and stuff.
You left her in a corner of the store
No,
while you were shopping?
I went to a corner of the clothing area. I faced her to the wall, and I stood there and looked at my phone and timed her and just let her scream. And she calmed down.
She calms down.
She calms down really easily.
So Wyatt will scream for hours.
Yeah. So know your child. Wyatt screams for hours, took him outside, put him in the car. Kaya, put her in a little corner, a few minutes, perfectly fine. I feel like if you bend to the point where you're like, I'm gonna go home because you did this, I feel like the kid has power in that situation. And our children, the worst thing you can do them is segregate them off of people. They love being around people. So if you put them in timeouts, it's like that's their currency, kind of, or their form of punishment that they don't like. 3, your kid gets too many toys for their birthday. Do you make some returns or save them for a rainy day?
I don't know. What did they get?
So we just had a birthday here. Obviously,
let's play this hypothetical game out. What did they get?
You saw that Kai got quite a few gifts. When any of our kids get gifts, we don't save them for rainy days because I feel like that's kind of defeats the purpose of their birthday. They shouldn't be punished because people get them too many gifts. So what we do is we go through and we get rid of, or not get rid of, but we donate toys that are already here. So Kaya just got a bunch of toys for her birthday, so I went downstairs and I have now 2 to 3 bags of toys to donate to our church, and that's just kind of how my kids recognize that
they're getting older.
You get older, so you switch out your toys, and that you don't need so many toys to yourself, and that it's good to share what you have. So
we're a big believer on the kids can only like visualize having so much stuff. Yeah. And if they have too much stuff, then a lot of it just kind of
goes
sits
to waste
there,
and sits there.
And they never even play with it, and it sits on a shelf somewhere for 3 months, and then maybe they pull it out. Maybe they never touch it again.
Yep.
So we try to get rid of stuff so that they have a limited amount of things to play with.
Well, not only that, but so that we get rid of it before it gets too old, so that some other child can take advantage of it. Which you guys have seen our basement. We do have tons of toys as it is, and I just would like to say I've held on to a lot of certain toys because I do nanny 2 other children. So we have toys for like all age groups. It's kind of crazy. 4, your kid is protesting sleep. Do you give in at 3 a.m., get them up and turn on a movie, or continue to rock them, nurse them, etc., try to get them back to sleep? First of all,
not a movie.
Not a movie. Like I don't even know where that came from. Like that's even an option.
Who plays movies at 3 o'clock in the morning?
I don't know. Well, no, I shouldn't say that because some people do, and I don't judge them. But I know from my experience with children, from everything I've read, and also our pediatrician, screen time is the worst thing you can do for a tired child because it wakes them up. It's like you're not supposed to do screen time before a certain time. John and I, when we had Wyatt and he was so difficult, we used to let him be on, the iPad a little bit too late in the night, and we would suffer.
Make mistakes like that.
We made the same mistakes, but he would stay wide awake because of the screen time. So we definitely
cut it off at a certain time, several hours before bedtime, and that seemed to work better. What's wrong?
We definitely do not get our kids up to watch movies at 3 a.m. I think that's kind of counterproductive, but we go to our kids at 3 a.m. It depends on why they're crying. Like if we know there's nothing wrong, If they're hurt, if they have a bad dream, if they are sick, if they're just crying because they woke up for some weird random reason, we just let them cry themselves back to sleep.
Do we?
Yeah, I do. John has a harder time with it. But
Kaya wakes up and we get her sometimes.
Kaya's teething right now, though, so that's why we get hers, because she's teething, and I know that she's
usually
in pain.
sleeps through the night unless there's a real problem. That's why we get her, because we're like, she's a really good sleeper. So,
but when they were infants, we just let them cry themselves to sleep.
I would go get Wyatt all the time. Kick myself for it every day.
He learned though, because Kaya we did not.
And then it took 6 months to get him sleep trained again after he was almost 2.
Yeah.
Which was a bad thing.
But basically as babies, we let them cry themselves asleep. And then at 3 a.m., we let them cry for a certain amount of time. And if they're still upset, we go check on them. And then at toddlerhood, again, none of them really wake up unless there's something really wrong. So we usually check on them. But we don't let them come out and play by any means. They either cuddle with me for a little bit or they go back to bed. There's no playing or movies or anything like that. 5, you have an appointment and no babysitter. Do you bring them with you or reschedule? I don't ever have a babysitter. I've taken my kids to all of my doctor's appointments, all of my dentist appointments, all of my hair appointments. I've even had to nurse Kaya while getting my teeth cleaned, while Wyatt was sitting in a chair on the iPad and Ava was sitting next to him. We back then did not have the money to hire a babysitter. I did not have a babysitter anyways, or anyone I could trust.
How do you find someone you trust?
It's really hard, and I at the time didn't know anybody who could watch our kids.
There's people out there we trust. It's just not.
They all work. They're all doing stuff. Yeah. So I just take my kids everywhere with me, and I just find a way to manage.
Unless I'm available.
Yeah, unless John's available, and then he'll either come with me or he'll keep the kids at home. 6, you have 20 minutes until unexpected company arrives. Do you rush to clean up your messy house or just figure, hey, it's okay, I've got kids? I like to keep my house clean so I can avoid these situations of hurry, 20 minutes, there's somebody coming over. So our house is usually at a level of clean where if there is somebody coming over, there's just a little bit of stuff that needs done, like wiping down the bathroom, sweeping, that kind of thing.
Sure. We do a little bit of cleanup.
But
it's not like one of those situations where you're like throwing stuff in closets.
No, we're
and like embarrassed because
our house just never gets to that point. I remember my mom being really stressed out growing up and being that way, and I just never wanted to be that way. So we just try to keep our house at a certain. But
I'm a messy boy. Right? That's what you'd describe me as?
You're a messy boy.
You've had to do a lot of work.
We try to keep our house at a certain level so we're not freaking out 20 minutes before somebody comes over. But we do also accept that, yes, we have kids, but I don't know. You're at the park and another child pushes yours. Do you intervene and correct them or go find the child's parent?
I intervene, usually.
John does intervene.
Kids that don't know you usually listen. Yeah, unless they're a certain age, and then they talk back. So
John's not mean about it, but
I would just say, hey, buddy, don't do that. That's not nice. Yeah. I would say something like that.
I usually would intervene too. If somebody pushes my kid, I say something to the kid nicely. I'll say, please don't do that, or I don't think Wyatt likes that, or could you just be a little bit more gentle? And if they don't listen, then I will get the parent involved because...
Most parents would appreciate you saying something, I think, unless they're funky.
We've had experiences with bullies.
Well,
with
usually
parents who don't care.
The kids are bullies, sometimes the parents are bullies.
Well, see, and that's the problem is... If the parent doesn't care and sees it happening, then I feel like I have to say something because if nobody says anything and they don't get anything said to them at home, they're never gonna, the kid's never gonna learn not to bully. So I would say something because again, I think bullies have a tendency to raise bullies, and if the parent's not interested in intervening, then that usually means they don't care. And again, if nobody stops that kid, then he's just gonna continue on like that, and I
think if it was something really bad, maybe get the parent. But if it's just a simple, like, playground squirmish thing, you just nicely say something.
Yeah.
Usually a young kid will be really surprised that someone said something to them, and they'll back off.
They'll usually be shy enough to be
But if you're really nice about it and you just say something.
Yeah, we don't go up and like, hey! We would never yell at someone. I mean, we would never yell at somebody else's child, but we will politely say something. And again, if it's something serious like they're hitting my kid or taking my kid's stuff, I would bring the parent in and involve them.
Usually when another kid grabs one of our kids' toys, it's a good opportunity to help learn them or teach them how to share something with another child.
Yeah.
But like if it was malicious, then obviously you would take them somewhere and get rid of them slowly.
But you don't want to teach other kids that it's okay to just take other people's stuff that they don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It's a double-edged sword.
It's nice to be nice.
It is nice to be nice. So, but yeah, like I said, we wouldn't be mean to the kid, but we would definitely intervene. Like, I don't want my kids... I mean, I understand it's part of growing, like, you need to get used to bullies and stuff like that. No, I don't even want to say that, because I was bullied, you guys know that. I don't think kids should have to get used to being mean, having kids be mean to them. I think the mean kids should have to get used to being nice. So I would say something, but that's just us.
Wow, you went on and on.
I know, I'm sorry. I don't like bullies, you guys know that. But anyway, so there is the mommy scenario tag.
No, you skipped one.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Did I?
Yeah.
I don't think I did.
Can't believe her. Number 7.
Oh, so we skipped number 7. You're running late and only have time to do your hair or makeup. Which do you choose?
Makeup?
Neither.
Whatever. I cannot leave this house without my face on.
Okay, so when it comes to me, it depends what it is. If it's just I have to go to the school or do something, whatever, I will just put a hat on and I will put my clothes on,
you're
and that's it.
beautiful without makeup. You don't need makeup.
I would just pick a hat. I would just put a hat on or put my hair up a ponytail or just whatever. I don't choose my hair or my face. I just go out the door.
They can wait.
They can wait.
I'm putting my face on.
John needs to put his face on. So there you have it. There's our tag. That's it. Did you like that tag?
Yeah, it's great.
That was a fun
I had
tag.
the best time. Mainly because I got to sit next to you on the couch.
So there you have it. And I have one more tag that I want to do, and I will try to film that right now.